one of the best matches in TNA history, and a so-so undercard. I'm John Ritlin with a retro review of TNA Unbreakable 2005. Styles, Joe, and Daniels earned that main event slot and really showed the goddamn skills that they possess and still possess even to this day. But yeah, the undercard, it was a mixed bag. This was a so-so pay-per-view if you take the totality of it, but that main event still stands out. It really is fucking fantastic, and the X Division Championship being featured in the main event of a 3-hour pay-per-view at this point was really goddamn great to see, and what better three guys to pull it off. So they do include the pre-show on this one. Sometimes they have it as a separate chapter, but in this, the first and only Unbreakable pay-per-view event, though they did do a special Unbreakable event last year, I believe. And the overarching story of Raven wanting Raven's rules in his NWA title match, but Zbyszko's like, no, I don't want to do that. It should be straight up. But then we get it a little bit later, because why the fuck not? So we get Cassidy Riley, known Raven cosplayer, at least at this time, versus Jarrell Clark. And it happened, but about 2 minutes in, Monty Brown comes in and destroys Jarrell Clark, and then destroys Cassidy Riley, and then cuts a promo about winning his title shot. Jeff Jarrett shows up and says, hey, there's this conspiracy going on. They want to get rid of me and get rid of you. They want to bring in a whole bunch of fresh talent and everything. He's still going on about the stuff he's been going on about for the last couple pay-per-views. And then Kip James comes down. Kip James and Monty Brown have a tag match later, and Jarrett isn't booked on the card, but this isn't the only time we get to see him. More in the pity. So then Jeff Hardy returns. Well, actually, he returned from suspension about a month ago, a month before this, and then he brawls with Jarrett, but he has a match later this night. And then we get Mikey Bats versus Shark Boy. It was about 3.5 minutes, and Shark Boy won with the Dead Sea Drop. There you go. That's your lot. That's your pre-show matches right there. Good opening video package, like Monday Night Football. Also, this was just a few weeks before they would go to Spike TV, and they were heavily pushing that. Big damn deal for them to be on Spike TV, and actually I enjoyed Impact on Spike for a good portion of its run, at least the first 5 or so years. Even when they tried to turn Jeff Hardy heel, that was great. When they arrived, fucking hell, that was stupid. That would have been stupid no matter what company it was in. So, we started with 3 live crew, Conan, Truth, and BG James, versus the Diamonds in the Rough, Simon Diamond, David Young, and Elix Skipper. This could have been on Impact, and I don't think it really would have been a miss. It was okay. It was alright. I mean, it's typical stuff. K-Factor pins David Young, and there you go. It just, a lot of this show, it's like, it felt like it could have been a 2-hour special event, and you could have just had, like, the best of the best matches. Sometimes you need a varied undercard, but the first 3 matches really didn't do anything for me. And unfortunately, the next match, while decent, was only 8 minutes long. It was Austin Aries versus Messiah the Backbreaker, Roderick Strong, and yeah, it was good for what it was, but being only 8 minutes, they didn't get to do nearly all the shit that they could do, like at a Ring of Honor show, or they could have done, say, on Impact if they had been given 15 minutes. But it was what it was in a 450 after Austin Aries took about 2 years to set that damn thing up. Hits 450 and gets the pin. And then we get Kip James and Monty Brown versus Lance Hoyt and Apollo. Sonny Siaki had a neck injury. He had a chair, put on his neck and stuff like that and hit into it, so he was selling that. And it was basic stuff. It was to hype up Hoyt and Monty Brown having a feud eventually. They would actually have a pretty good match. I believe it Bound for Glory 2005. Which I may retro review, I may not. We will see. I have a lot of shit I'm retro reviewing. A lot of WWE and a lot of WCW. And also G1, a whole bunch of stuff. The whole point is I sneak these TNA pay-per-views in when I can, because I like to go back and visit a time when I used to really like Impact. And I wish them all the best now, but I don't have time to watch them. And also, Josh Matthews is fucking abhorrent on commentary. And it was miscommunication between the heels. With that being said, Pounds pins Apollo. It was a typical match. Hoyt didn't get pinned because, again, the aforementioned Monty Brown match that he was going to have at Bound for Glory took center stage. And that way they could protect Hoyt until these 2 monsters clashed. And then we had Team Canada talking about their respective matches. Williams saying to A1, not the barbecue sauce. Free rides are over. You got to carry your weight. And then we get Chris Sabin versus Petey Williams. Hey, it's good. Actual first good match on this show. It's not that the first 3 matches of the actual pay-per-view were awful. They were just kind of there. Nice back and forth. And, Williams being a great groundsman, but also, great aerial artist. Sabin kept trying to hit the cradle shock, that is, and eventually hit the cradle shock 1, 2, 3. And then Matt Bentley, the former Michael Shane shows up. There were rumors that he might have gone to WWE, but no, he says Impact is his home, and the only thing he's bound for is Bound for Glory. They want to have an Ultimate X match, and he suggests, hey, I won the first ever Ultimate X match, let's do that. Now, he had laid out Sabin, and then he laid out Williams, faking him out and hitting a super kick. So it was cool, and it was nice to see Bentley get a pretty big pop. And then we get Abyss with James Mitchell versus Sabu. It's supposed to be a standard match, but James Mitchell, easy for me to say, said, hey, how about we make it no DQ? Probably smart because Sabu couldn't really wrestle and could only do shit with weapons. The amount of botches that Sabu had in his matches is absolutely just fucking astounding. Just in this match alone. Oh, I set the chair up. Oh no, I need to set the chair up again. Oh, we got these table spots. And weapons don't work with you. Furniture doesn't work with you. And it was what it was. You know what you're going to get with Abyss and Sabu. You get you get weapons, you get tables, you get chairs. Thumbtacks get broken out. Sabu goes for a springboard DDT, but it gets reversed into a black hole slam right onto the tacks. And, then he got pinned 1, 2, 3. Abyss wins. It was what it was. I mean, it wasn't bad, but Sabu's matches really don't hold up. Not that all of his matches are bad. He had a few on Nitro, or in his brief run in WCW in 1995 that actually weren't bad because he actually had to try to wrestle and he was still a little bit mobile. But at this point, 10 years later, Abyss really wasn't a great wrestler either. Him and Sabu, they crafted a decent match, but it was a lot of shit you'd already seen. And then we get Robert Roode versus Jeff Hardy. It was one of the last matches that Jeff Hardy had during his run in Impact, or in TNA, now Impact Wrestling, because he, got suspended shortly after Genesis 2005. He was supposed to show up at Turning Point 2005. I don't remember who he's supposed to face, but he no-showed. And then, I guess, wrestled at some house shows, some live events that were part of, a co-promotion. But he never appeared on Impact Wrestling programming again until 2010 when he came back. Which probably was smart, except then Victory Road 2011 happened. And no, I'm not going to forget that, nor should he. Now, he learned from it. Good for him. The match was typical fair. It wasn't bad. Williams interfered, and then Jarrett clocked Hardy, and then Roode got the victory. Because they needed that overarching story, because we need to see more Jeff Jarrett on this show. And then AMW versus the Naturals with Jimmy Hart versus Eric Young and A1, not the barbecue sauce. Alex Shelley and Sean Waltman. Oh no, Sean Waltman didn't show up. Waltman and Shelley had won the Chris Candido Memorial Tournament Cup, I believe. I think that's what they called it, to earn this shot at the TNA Tag Team Championships. NWA TNA Tag Team Championships. And Chris Candido's brother, I missed the name. I couldn't remember if it was Johnny or Donnie. But he got in there because he was in the crowd along with a family friend and Candido's father. And he got in there, but he got pinned soon after, and that was the elimination for the team. They should have just let Shelley go on his own. But then it gets down to, we get Young getting an inside cradle on Harris, so AMW is done. And AMW is showing a lot more heelish tactics here. And the reason is because they were going to attack the Naturals and beat them for the Tag Team Championship soon after this. I can't remember if it was on the first Spike TV episode or right before Bound for Glory, but I know it was around that time. So this turn is coming, and then they aligned with Jeff Jarrett, which actually was beneficial to them because they had been baby faces for a while, and it actually did give them a fresh coat of paint, so to speak. It was pretty nice to see. And then it's down to Team Canada members, Young and A1, and the Naturals, and a Natural Disaster pins A1, 1, 2, 3. A1 seem to always take the goddamn pins here. And then, so they're still the tag team champions. We get Rhino versus Draven, and he does get his Raven's Rules match, and it's Falls Count Anywhere and weapons and all this stuff, and what the fuck do you expect? Rhino, who at this point still had something left. Raven didn't really have much left. I mean, I'm sorry he didn't. I know he wrestled for a number of years, but didn't really have much left. Weapons, blood, goes all over. Typical stuff. A shopping cart spot where Rhino doesn't quite get into the cart like he did, I think, at Backlash 2001. It was Backlash, or I think it was Backlash. They do that. Jarrett interferes. Jeff Hardy stops him. And then we get the Even Flow DDT pinning Rhino. This match wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was just kind of there. And also, like, Raven is NWA champion. It worked, but him losing the championship was coming because even he knew that he shouldn't hold the championship when they go on Spike TV, or at least so he said. Maybe he was just towing the company line. Maybe he really wanted to be. I would have liked to have seen Raven go into Bound for Glory as champion. I think that would have been kind of cool. But Jarrett had to go in as champion because Jarrett had to always be on top in his own goddamn company for the first 4 fucking years. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels. All I gotta say is this: if you have not seen this match, what the fuck are you doing? Pause this review, go watch that match, and then come back and comment about how great it is. All 3 guys were at their peak. I mean, well, actually, they were still rising up and getting even better. Styles was amazing. Daniels was amazing. He was a current X Division champion at the time. Joe was on an undefeated streak. Everything, the factors were just, perfect to sell everybody on this goddamn match, and it was great. It was fucking great. One of the best matches in Impact Wrestling history. One of the best matches of the decade. I'm talking like in American wrestling. I mean, New Japan, whole different beast. But if we talk American wrestling, like if we talk TNA, Ring of Honor, and WWE, I'm including those companies. If you can think of others, please let me know. I would say this match measures up. It's fucking great. It's one of the best matches in Impact Wrestling history, if not the best. Because it's still talked about fondly to this day. It is still considered one of the best. The pacing was perfect. The ebbs and flows, the near falls, the high-flying moves, the submissions, the strikes, the storytelling of Daniels having to play hit and run because he kept getting beat up because Styles and Joe had that match at Sacrifice, which was a great goddamn match. But unfortunately, Daniels, made his presence felt, and that's why we got this 3-way. But just watching it, it was perfect. It was so well done. Styles ends up reversing the Angel's wings and pins Daniels 1, 2, 3. I can't say enough good shit about this match. I mean, I could make it 30 minutes of just me praising this shit and going through every single move and talking about all this stuff. But I encourage you guys to watch it if you haven't. And if you have seen this pay-per-view, if you've seen that 3-way, please let me know where you think it ranks in TNA wrestling history. Because I think it's their best match ever. And top 2 or 3, if not best ever. Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.